Latinos have never needed Black Americans to force their racial biases on us. We have our own. We have been anti-Black all by ourselves. Latinos have been colorists all by themselves. Latinos have been racist all by themselves, way before they come to America, way before they ever have contact with Black Americans. You know what the difference is? Normalized forms of racism, colorism, and anti-Blackness. What's normal amongst people in our culture, what's hush-hush, what's swept under the rug or not dealt with or just accepted, doesn't fly with Black Americans. And you just don't like the fact that a Black American will call you out on it. Because it's not normal. And it shouldn't be accepted. And it shouldn't be okay. So when you have people in your own community letting you know that they've been hurt or traumatized or discriminated by people in our own community, family members even, you need to listen. You need to listen instead of deflecting. Because this comment right here is a total and complete cop-out. It's straight up deflection. And it is a bold-faced lie. Our racial biases, they start back home. They start in our own countries, in our own islands. We just bring it here with us. You just don't like the boldness of how Black Americans deal with racism. Normalized anti-Blackness is not a value. Normalized colorism is not a value. Sweeping things under the rug and not talking about them, that's not a cultural value. It's not. Yet it's something that you seek to covet and put above Black Americans. You need to stop pitting Latinos against Black Americans and recognize that the root cause of all of the issues we have across all of our communities is white supremacy. Recognize how white supremacy has operated in your own life and how it has afforded you white privilege as a white presenting Latino and given you a life experience that more Black presenting Latinos cannot identify with. And stop propagating the lie and the myth that we don't care about race and there's no racism amongst us. Because if that were the case, we would not be having this discussion.
I saw a video from one of my mutuals, and she was talking about the concept of racial innocence and how Latinos can perpetuate anti-Blackness even though we live in a white supremacist society because of our white adjacentness. That's a whole chapter that I could definitely add to the second part of my workbook series, Deconstructing Anti-Blackness within the Latino community. I have been in this journey for a while, and I think the pivoting point for this journey has also been having a family member who is biracial, who is Black, and seeing how my own community actively discriminates a baby. And I don't want to cry because I've seen so many experiences where I had to fucking fight people, say things back at people, kind of experiences that pretty much shape the reality that anti-Blackness is so fucking prevalent in the Latino community because of colonization, because of the casta system of colorism as well from the Spaniards as well. And to undo and eradicate this kind of mentality, you also have to sit with the discomfort that at one point you were anti-Black. So you sit with that, and then what do? You do better. You actively point out these things. You confront people. Hey, that's not okay. Where do you think that comes from? Like, literally, my favorite question to ask people is, where do you think that comes from? Most people don't even know their history. The road to decolonization for Latinos is the road to honestly deconstruct anti-Blackness and also do better for the Afro-Latinos in our community. We forget that Latino is an ethnicity. I wanted to reply to your comment because I think there is some validity to what you have to say. I am going to have to push back on a couple of things. I'm a big believer of discomfort, and in being able to sit with your own discomfort is the only way to grow. And as a whole, I can tell you this as a social worker that's been doing this kind of line of work for a while, and I would have never grown if it wasn't for me sitting with my discomfort. Number one, not one person can eradicate an entire system that is pretty much designed for exploitation and hierarchy. That is a very colonizer take. In order to truly have solidarity within communities is not having a white savior complex. Also, I don't believe in white guilt either. What did you do within your past that you feel so fucking guilty about? You gotta sit with that. In order to understand all the structural racism, because what you're describing is structural racism, you have to understand how the fuck we got here. At the end of the day, when it comes to structural systems, you cannot eradicate structural systems if you don't even know where the starting point is, or you can't even name how the fuck did we get here. What you want to do is create a collective consciousness, meaning people to continue to talk about these things, whether it's online or in person, or even calling out family members. Next is pouring into and investing into systems. I went to an HBCU, and I think that's a really good way for Latinos to pour into systems that uplift Black and Brown people. And when I tell you, it did start with the history. You have to take a Black history class, understand how the fuck we got here. That's part of being in an HBCU. So going to an HBCU versus going into a predominantly white institute is a really good way of you pouring in and investing into your community. I mean, HBCUs have their own like problems at times when it comes to like the money, but ultimately as well, like one of the first things that Trump did was attack HBCUs. Unfortunately, I still talk to my professors from time to time, and the fact that the federal government started cutting, what did they do? Cutting DEI, all these programs that impacted my school. Are you actively going to Black owned businesses within your city? Are you choosing Black owned businesses over Amazon? Because sometimes we choose convenience over what our values are. And that's most people in the world. Life is hard sometimes. You see, it's not enough naming the oppression. You gotta live according to your values. You gotta be 10 toes down. And this is no shade or tea, but I think it's very presumptuous to assume that people that create content on TikTok only solely create content on TikTok. I am a social worker in the state of Texas, and I say this because being a social worker in the state of Texas, it's fucking hard because you have to work with these oppressive systems. And I can tell you on a personal level, and this is me being vulnerable, a lot of these companies and corporate entities, they don't have training when it comes to implicit biases, or training when it comes to like talking about racism and how institutions uphold anti-blackness, whether it's medical bias, whether it's the disparities within mental health services. And this is the thing that people will not tell you, but I'll tell you, to be 100% vulnerable, there's not an incentive when it comes to standing up against these structural systems. Actually, the incentive is to keep the status quo. That is literally the incentive. Because if you talk about these things, I've had to leave jobs, I've gotten been labeled as problematic for talking about these things. No one talks about that. Where's the mutual aid for that? That people can be actively anti-racist, anti-oppressive. The reality is the system is designed to keep the structure for what it is, because there's money to be made through oppression. Honestly, the internet gives you visibility. It can take you, people can see your content all throughout the world. That's one thing I do like about it. You can develop sovereignty through the internet. You can, I have my own company now, and one of the things that I do within my wellness company is creating equitable wellness for all individuals. I try to host 3 free events as well, and that is because there's a huge disparity within wellness when it comes to people of color. I want to be able to still go to protests, to do advocacy work, to do things in an anti-oppressive lens, and be completely sovereign. That's my goal, to be sovereign. I've done events about collective trauma. I've done events about women empowerment. These are free events. They're not things that I charge people, because I believe in collective consciousness. We need to talk to each other in order to make any kind of society.
Whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you're falling for it or not, whether they are trying to gaslight you or not, Latinos will not change from their anti-blackness. Latino will always choose to identify as white skin. Latino will always prefer the white spaces as compared to the Black American spaces. The only time they will always come out to cry is when they have issues. The only time they'll come out to cry is when they want Black Americans to save them, when they want Black Americans to be their God. in a certain thing, if not every other thing in different aspects. A lot of Latinos, out of 100, 99% have shown that they can never be loyal to Black people. They can never be loyal to Black Americans. And I'm not forcing anybody to be loyal. I'm just bringing this for educational purposes, especially for my Black community, so that we can also learn and know what is ahead of us. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And with that being said, let's dive right into this video. I'll be back with commentaries. Let's go watch, guys. I have a lot of things to say at the end of this video.
Something that I think we oftentimes hear about in the Black community. It's talked about in the Black community, colorism. Easily, almost. There's the racism's discussed, but colorism within the Black community. In the Latino community, not so much. Why is that, do you think? Felice? So I think that there's this facade, really, conversations about colorism are really about a deep-seated issue that has gone on for centuries, really. And at times, those who are actually impacted by it, perhaps are dealing with their own traumas. Well, do you think that it's because Latinos feel, well, we can't be racist? We're people of color. Of course. I think that there's a facade, and there is a facade that Latinos cannot be racist, right? So we're mixed people. We are all different things. Racism, huh? What? Colorism, huh? No way, right? But we know that that's not true. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's this indoctrination that Latinos are one, which is false. And then as in this notion of being one, we believe that it is a family, so it's almost like we're airing dirty laundry. Mm-hmm. So we kind of like brush it under the rug out of shame. And I don't think it's denial, because I think most know, but it's denial and shame in revealing that like thing that, colonialism left us with.
Exactly.
That I think it makes us less likely to talk about it.
Caridad, do you think that you have ever benefited from the way you look?
Absolutely. And that's why I know that I have a privilege because of the color of my skin. I've been able to, blend, assimilate, or, people assume that I'm not even Latina sometimes. And, I remember working at a diner and they thought I was Greek. And, I didn't tell them my name was Caridad. They called me Carrie. And I didn't correct them because I was like, I'm never going to see these people again. But I was privy to the conversations they were having, the venomous conversations they were having. And I carried that with me. And I use my privilege to help the disempowered, to help the oppressed. And, it's really up to white people to make this difference for us. The way they need to hold space for people of color, the way that men need to hold space for women, because that's a whole other issue, but white people need to hold space for people of color.
What's up, Saiyan Squad? And I ain't gonna cap, Latinos' hatred towards black people sincerely needs to be studied. But one thing I'm getting so tired of is the amount of anti-blackness from Latinos. Do these people realize that the civil rights movement is the reason them and other immigrant groups can even come over here, right? Yet the same people that made it where you can even live over here and be in this country, y'all got so much smoke and animosity towards. But them folks who tell y'all on a daily to go home and leave, y'all kiss them in the rear end 24/7. And they still give you they rear ear to kiss. Yeah, they gonna make you think that they like you because you spewing out all this anti-black rhetoric, but at the end of the day, they don't want you. Like, it's tiring. And one thing I can't stand when y'all be in the comment section talking about, or y'all make these posts on social media talking about, we may have our differences, but we can all agree there's one demographic that we don't like. The folks you're pandering to don't even like you. But y'all have this mentality of, if we don't like the blacks, then them folks will like us. Dog, they're never gonna like us. I mean, they're never gonna like you. Blacks have done nothing but shopped at y'all businesses, made it where y'all can come over here, but y'all have this hatred towards us for absolutely no reason. That side with the same people who have oppressed y'all, took y'all land, took y'all resources, and tell y'all to go home on a daily.
I just want to say, watching these raids happen in LA right now, people voted for this. People voted for this. And I think right now, the black and the brown community, we need to come together. And we need to remember that they are the ones who made it us versus them. They put us against each other, because if we're busy fighting each other, we don't put our eyes on them. We need to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up.
Girl, you need to wake up. Not the Hispanics calling on the black people for help. Really? Where were y'all during George Floyd? Where were y'all during Sandra Bland? Where were y'all during all of the white cops killing black people? Where were y'all? But y'all want us to come together. Really? Really? Why y'all calling on us? Why y'all calling on the black people? Why y'all not calling on Asians? They're a minority too. Why y'all calling for us? If you go on my page, you will see I made a post about how there was a Trump rally for Trump back in 2020, before he even got elected 4 years ago. And there was a crowd full of Hispanics, and the song was saying, I will vote for Donald Trump. Y'all want it. Y'all got it. Y'all got him into office, and now y'all want to double back and ask for help, calling all the African Americans to help. Like, come on now. We gonna stay out of this. We gonna stay as far away from this. Y'all can continue to riot and make yourselves look bad, but we gonna stay out of this.
The anti-blackness that exists in the Latino community, because it's a real thing. And it is only further perpetuating the division between our two communities and contributing to the overall oppression of our two communities. And I know there's going to be some people out there that's like, that's not even a thing. That's not a real issue. But it is. I grew up hearing freaking racist remarks made towards black people. And I heard it often. And I know so many other people did. And not only is it about anti-blackness, it's also about internalized racism that some Latinos, including myself when I was a child, felt the need to be white because I saw white people being treated better. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I'm white, or if I consider myself white, or if I tell people that I'm white, then I am going to be treated better. I didn't understand as a child why I even felt that, but we are socialized as a society to want that, unless you break out of the freaking matrix and you realize, oh my gosh, we're all being oppressed by the same freaking systems. So for us to have division and for there to be anti-blackness in our community is not helping anyone. One, it's just wrong, but two, it's only further perpetuating the oppression that already exists in our freaking society. So there's that part. And then there's this whole dismissal of Afro-Latinos, because Afro-Latinos exist, yet sometimes are classified as not Latino, when in reality, they are Latinos, Afro-Latinos. And then there's this whole freaking connection to where we find ourselves in American history, okay? And the fact that many people, many Latinos, Latino men in particular, did not want to vote for a black and Asian, but a black woman, okay? And then there's the intersection of machismo, internalized racism, anti-blackness, and all of it contributing, again, to the further perpetuation of oppression of our communities. That's what I need people to understand. When there's division between our two communities, that is purposeful, okay? Because these systems, these people in power want us to be infighting, when in reality, there's a lot more that we have in common. we are also being oppressed by the same systems. We should be supporting each other. And it is because of Black people and their advocacy that we, as Latinos and other communities, have the civil rights that we have today. The ability for us to even be able to have that privilege was in large due part to Black people, okay? So I need us to understand that. And I need us to have a conversation about that, because even if we were brought up that way, that doesn't mean that we can't change. That doesn't mean that we can't do better, because we can. Okay? Even if society socializes us to believe that, we can change, we can do better. So if you want to have this conversation, follow for more.
It is not today. Latinos' anti-blackness is on another level, like, is on the high side. Their anti-blackness is not even to be matched. It is not today thing. Like, they love. They can boldly come to your face and tell you that, like, we prefer white folks to you people. You can imagine a Latino person telling a Black American person that you do not have culture. You can imagine some of them even going to the point of saying, oh, they work harder, that is why they are able to achieve whatsoever they have literally achieved in another man's country. You heard me clear, in another man's country. In the country where Black Americans built with their sweat and blood. I think now a lot of them are coming into realization and understanding some, let me not say a lot, let me just say some, coming into that realization and understanding that at the end of the day, Black people are still ahead, Black people are still leading, and Black people are no longer falling for their gaslighting. So right now what they are doing is trying to start adjusting things that they know they have literally done wrong. Trying to start putting things in place. Trying to start adjusting just a whole lot. Because that is who Latinos are. Latinos idolize white folks. That's the truth. Can you imagine the situation that just went on between the 14-year-old boy that was unalive by an Asian man? You can imagine a Latino person coming out to be like, Asians shouldn't have any reason to apologize. That Black people are just fond of dragging people. I did like the second series of that particular video. So I feel like Latinos can never understand Black American struggles, how it started, how it's going. And I'm not only saying this to Latinos, I'm also pointing fingers to a lot of African immigrants that literally do not understand what Black Americans have been through, the struggles they have literally passed, just because they want to exist as Black Americans. It's a whole lot. And that is why even when Black Americans said every single thing they dare to say, Latinos will still go ahead and do what they think for them it's the best. It's just the best. It's right. Why, in a nutshell, myself and them knew that it is not right. So that is why I keep saying it, and I'll continue to tell Black Americans, anti-blackness is already inside them. They have eaten it, they have chewed it, they have swallowed it. So you as a Black person now, anytime you want to go close or do it, just tread with caution. I'll keep saying it. When you're eating with the devil, you eat with a long spoon. Like Latinos can never be behind Black Americans. As far as that's my own opinion. If you have your own contra opinion, please drop it in the comment section and ask me why. But when it comes to the anti-blackness that run in the blood of especially these white Latinos that think that they are whites, that think that their skin color matches the white skin, that think that yes, they have arrived, it cannot be matched. I don't know. But let me know what you think in the comment section. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of the little percent of Latinos that actually understand the struggles of Black American, understand what Black people have literally been through, and trying to like amend and adjust from what they have literally been taught. I want to say a very big thank you to them, and shout out to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye. I'll see you guys in my next one. For that, bye guys, I love you guys.